Hello again, deckhands. I hope you're ready for some non-nautical hullabaloo because it's time once again for Get Hype. Welcome back, dear subscribers, and thanks for your support, and a welcome also to you visitors. First, this week's fan site recommendations. As usual, I want to highlight the Tamriel Vault. Now, if you're wondering why I do that every week, the Vault is my go-to community, not just for Elder Scrolls and Fallout discussion, but gaming in general, and it's the easiest place to find me if you want to chat outside of YouTube. Secondly, I want to mention the Fallout 4 forums again. This community is incredibly new, almost a blank slate, so if you want to have a hand in shaping a community from the beginning, check it out, offer some ideas. There will be links to both in the description. Folks, at this point we've pretty much covered the entirety of what Bethesda has officially confirmed, which leaves us standing on the shaky plank of speculation. While I may prefer discussing what's been confirmed, there's a lot of that speculation that really does have me hyped, and today we're going to start talking about some of that. This week it'll be specifically about factions, which ones we can expect to see, how large they might be, so we'll start with what's already official. From the Fallout 4 homepage, we have this assurance that we can join multiple factions vying for power. This really tells us very little. Bethesda could stop at 2, and that would be multiple factions vying for power. Of course, that's not really Bethesda's style, and Fallout lore already has a wealth of potential factions. The trouble is their geography. So let's have a look at which ones might be in the area and which ones we've heard about so far. We know that Fallout 4 will feature the Brotherhood of Steel. Though they may be spread thin, lore indicates that the Brotherhood has a presence all across America. They were hinted at right off in the reveal trailer and made notable appearances in the E3 presentation and then later in Gamescom and QuakeCon. While we can be pretty confident that they're a joinable faction, their role in the story is still a mystery. Our only other hint comes from the Mystery Minis line of Fallout collectibles. I wouldn't consider this a hard and fast source myself, but it's hard to ignore that they specifically offer villains like the Brotherhood of Steel. The Brotherhood have historically been huge jerks, but they've never played the role of villains. Now, one last thing we can be reasonably sure of is that the Brotherhood will be a major force in the Boston Wastes, apparently equipped with multiple vertibirds and an impressive, if burning, airship. Moving on, we've also had it confirmed that there will be a faction known as the Commonwealth Minutemen, of which Preston Garvey is a member, possibly their leader. Little else is known about the Minutemen right now. When the player first encounters Garvey, he's with a group that is probably made of other members of the faction, though only Garvey appears to be armed or wearing anything that would seem characteristic of the group. Preston explains that there are 5 people with him, survivors from a group of 20. Whether this represents all of what's left of the Minutemen is unknown, along with their motivations or place in the story. All we know is that they seem to have a really fancy hat and coat combo and are probably associated with the laser musket weapon. The third faction we're sure to encounter is the Institute, who we know even less about than the Minutemen. The Institute's technology is responsible for the synthetics that we'll be encountering and fighting in the Commonwealth. We know they harbor incredibly advanced technology, which would certainly be tempting to the Brotherhood. We also know that not all of their androids take well to being on a leash.
I don't know. Every time I retrieved one of the runaway androids, they'd fill my head with ideas about self-determination, freedom. At first, I resisted the ideas, but then I started thinking about it. And well, they were right. We're just slaves to them. We deserve lives of our own. So that's what I did. I chose a new life and gave up my old one. And now you've given me both to remember.
There are plenty of openings for such a faction to fit into a great Fallout story. The last one I want to talk about is more a hint of a faction than anything else, embodied in one character, John Hancock. I got excited when I first saw him because I thought he looked like a pirate. Others were quick to point out, though, that it's more likely that we're seeing a redcoat, like a parallel to the English army during the American Revolution. In the context of Fallout 4, a group like that would be the logical enemies of the Minutemen. It's notable that the historical figure John Hancock was an American and a patriot, so this character possibly being a redcoat would really play with that notion. It's also pretty significant that he's a ghoul, or turning into one. Could he be leading a faction of redcoat ghouls? And why would they and the Minutemen latch onto these historical groups to model themselves after? Is it just the influence of the Boston area? We've got just less than 2 months for Bethesda to give us any more hints, but short of that, only Fallout 4 will tell. I know there are tons of theories out there on the game's factions, so tell us about your favorite ones in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video and join in on the discussion. Like and subscribe and keep your powder dry. Until next week, this is Daft Pirate signing off.
Bring up me heart into home.